Good evening, Wastelanders. You're listening to the Collective Gamescast, the gaming podcast that gives you a voice. This is episode 8, Fallout Flashback. I'm your host who's addicted to Jet, the Malgadar, and with me as always is Caravan Chris.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Chris, how you doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing okay. Really excited about this one. I like this show, this episode.
Unfortunately, it's just the two of us tonight, no guests.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Maybe we'll have some guests next week. As always, if you want to join in on the festivities, the Google Hangout goes live at 10 p.m. Eastern, and anybody is welcome to be a guest on the show. You can just email us at collectivegamescast@gmail.com, or you can even tweet at us at thecollectivegc on Twitter. All right, Chris. So, what have you been up to?
Let's see. What have I been doing? Well, the plan this week was to get a little Fallout Tactics in so I can see what that was about, specifically for this episode, but that never happened. I did not get to do that. But on Sunday, I played, I don't know, we were on that horror episode last week, and so I played a little State of Decay, which I don't know if you've played it or not. It's an excellent game, considering it was only meant to be like an indie Xbox live arcade game.
Yeah, I did not get a chance to play that one.
Yeah, it's very good. A lot of it was interesting. It took a different spin on survival instead of just like, oh, make sure you save your bullets and kill all the zombies. It was more developing a community, and then you get to use the people in that community to like help fight off other things. There's this aspect where you can only be out so long before you get tired, and when you get tired, you lose stamina, which means you can't swing your weapon that often. You can't run as much. You can't carry as much. So you got to go back, switch out to a new person, and then do that. And then I think this year they released an extra expansion, Breakdown, which is pretty much I want to call it like a sandbox. You start your community and you build from there, but there's no story involved in it. It's just you building your community off of that. The cool thing about that is when you die, like if you die from, I don't know, one of the zombie hordes, the game doesn't end. You just end up playing as another person in your community. So it's got some pretty cool looking things. It's a pretty fun game so far.
Okay. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anything besides State of Decay?
No, I haven't had much time to game.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
with work and everything, it's been tough.
Yeah, work will do that, and definitely get in the way of your gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I am falling further and further down the Metal Gear Solid rabbit hole. I just cannot stop playing the game, which got me to thinking that's really the sign of great gameplay.
I think so.
Because I was thinking about the fact that when the gameplay itself doesn't get in the way of the enjoyment, then you've got it right. And I think that's what they achieved with this. The gameplay never gets in your way.
I get that, yeah. Yeah, it actually keeps the game going. If you're, I think, there's a game we were talking about not too long ago where you felt that, we're talking about Brothers. And I guess this is pretty straight on what you're saying. Yeah, like the gameplay and the controls got in the way of you actually enjoying the game, which I personally thought that was nice, but I do get it.
Yeah, that was definitely difficult for me.
No, I get that. It doesn't get in the way of anything.
Yeah, so that's really great. Just knocking out side missions and further developing Mother Base MIFOBs, and I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, I think I might want to push through all the story missions to the end this weekend since Fallout's Tuesday, and I kind of want to maybe be done with this before that happens. On the other hand, I'm like, do I really want to like lose quiet forever if I want to go back and try to S-rank some stuff? I'm trying to do the missions I think I'll need her for the most right now and see if I can't get them done, but it's holding me back from finishing up the story missions.
Maybe you should add a little challenge and just go through the story and see if you can do those missions without her, period.
Well, I don't use her for most stuff, but there's a couple situational missions where she's incredibly useful. Pretty much missions that end up being nothing but combat.
I get that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to maybe wrap all those up because outside of that, I can figure the rest out, to be honest.
I'll probably do a lot of that Metal Gear tonight after the podcast.
Yeah, I also, you'll enjoy this. I was telling you how I have the anti-tank sniper rifle.
Yep.
The Serval. I decided to see what happens if you use that against those heavy infantry bastards.
Did it work?
If you hit them with a headshot, it just destroys their helmet and kills them outright. If you hit them in the chest, it like blows pieces of their armor off, and then they fall on the ground wounded.
Nice.
And my medical team is so good that, and my support team is so good that in a sandstorm with a wounded guy, it was 100% chance to Fulton. I was like, yeah.
Those, they always give me the most problems.
Oh no, now I love it because the wormhole, I think, avoids the whole sandstorm issue.
Yep.
So I'm just calling in sandstorms whenever I don't feel like dealing with stuff. Like, give me a sandstorm so I can get, through here real quick, take these guys out,
It's perfect for those quick side ops. Probably good for the tank ones too.
Yeah, really useful for the tank ones. Good for the heavy infantry. Makes it easier to sneak up on them and choke them out. So it's got some decent applications, and it's just fun to be like, it's a sandstorm, but I can see and you guys can't. As long as you've gotten rid of the night vision goggles, which become a pain in the ass.
Yep. I'm hoping to unlock a lot of stuff tonight.
Yeah.
That is my ultimate goal.
Do it, man.
Yep.
Yeah, other than Metal Gear, Mario Maker, I figured out how to cheese the system and unlock everything, thank God. So that was good. I was able to get everything unlocked, and as soon as my Metal Gear and Fallout addictions are over, I'll get back to some of that.
So 3 months.
Yeah, what that's going to be is like when I want to watch something like football or hockey or something, I'll just have Mario Maker on in my lap for commercials,
The Wii U makes sense.
Work on some boards,
Yeah.
All right. So, Chris, we got something we need to take care of since it's just the two of us tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We should wrap up our core 4. So
yes, that is a very good idea.
Yeah, we've given the listeners 3 out of our 4 games over the past couple of weeks. So let's get to the last one for each of us. So,
all right.
To recap, you had Skyrim, you had SimCity 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And you had Final Fantasy 8.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the 4th game in your core 4?
My 4th game is Super Mario World, Super Nintendo.
Oh, I love Mario 64.
Nope, that's not what I said. That's not.
I love Super Mario Bros. 3.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I see what you're doing.
I'm sorry, man. In the pantheon of Mario games, I think this is interesting because you like it enough to be a core 4. I think it's the worst core Mario game, which now that still makes it like a 9.5, but out of the Mario games, just compared to the relative greatness of the other games, I never liked Mario World.
What is it that you didn't like besides, I'm guessing, the cape and the artwork?
The cape bothered me. It's not as cool as the rabbit suit.
Okay.
And it's just not intuitive, The art style I absolutely think is atrocious.
Oh, man.
I thought the level design was a lot weaker in that game.
I'll give you that.
I thought now they did give some nice innovations to it though, like the things like with the overworld map where you could hit the switches and it would unlock stuff in other places. They gave us ghost houses. They gave us secret exits, which Mario 3 had a little bit of, but they didn't have much consequence.
Yep.
I didn't like the music either. Like the music seemed all like weird and trippy compared to normal Mario music.
I love the music.
Yeah, just everything about that game seemed really strange to me, and just it felt like it didn't fit in the Mario series.
Oh man,
Like if you really take all the games, right? Obviously, is like way out in Zanzibar land,
that's
but
the one I'm thinking of. Like right away, I'm like, did you play 2? Did you?
yeah, but two's great, but it is weird, like as far as fitting in with the series. But
Yeah,
like I always felt like those were the two core games that just didn't fit in at all. Like those two are like out somewhere else.
I loved it. The addition of Yoshi.
And I just want to Yoshi, yeah, I forgot to mention him in the things they added. Um I did beat the crap out of Mario World, so it's not like I didn't give it a fair shake or anything like that either. I got all the way up to the Super World, whatever the hell that thing was, and I did the first couple stages in that and was like, "Whoa, this is like nasty." You know, I forget how far I got in that though.
I don't know, man. I really enjoyed that. I always go back to that game. You get the Star World where you can teleport to different areas of the game. You didn't have to go through the whole thing one by one. You could actually like skip around through Star World. Those were actually quite difficult.
Oh, was that it? Star World?
Yeah.
That might be what I'm thinking of. Yeah. I remember they were like the really hard stages. I think I beat them all, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, they were the harder ones. That was just so you can teleport to different areas of the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I beat them all. I think it was Mario Galaxy 2 had the same thing, and I did not beat them all in that because they were crazy hard.
I haven't played Galaxy 2.
I'm really good. Just as good as Galaxy 1 in my book.
Okay.
Which is strange because you'd think doing a second one they wouldn't be able to nail it again, but they really did.
All right.
Yeah. So Mario World, how old were you when you played that?
First time?
Yeah.
Probably 9 or 10.
Okay. Is that when you fell in love with it?
Yeah. I played that nonstop.
Because I hold to this theory that the 16-bit era is the worst era in the history of video games. Because I've really looked back at a lot of them games, I'm like, they really suck, like compared to everything around them. And most people tell me I'm crazy because they're like, 16-bit era was the greatest era ever. And it's like, no.
I wouldn't say it
really wasn't. Like, I look at A Link to the Past,
yep.
and I'm like, not that great compared to other Zelda games. Like, Zelda 1's better than Link to the Past. Ocarina of Time is better than Link to the Past. You know?
Well, I mean, comparing any Zelda to Ocarina of Time that's pretty difficult.
True. Ocarina of Time hasn't aged as well as you would think, though. Go back and play that.
I have to check that out.
Not to say the 16-bit era games are bad. I just always get this feeling that people have this. They have a nostalgia to it that clouds their vision. It was like their first girlfriend, you know? Like a lot of people were coming of age as gamers in that generation and fell in love with stuff and have no objectivity looking back now. Like Super Metroid, that's a 16-bit game that is absolutely amazing. Like that's a gem. Chrono Trigger, that's probably another decent one. But people do this with the Sonic games. People just love the Sonic games. And you go back and you're kind of like, not so great. Sonic 2, pretty good. Everything else, pretty not so good.
Sonic is literally one of my favorite games. Not a Core 4. But I remember I used to play that. Oh, that was another one. I just couldn't stop playing.
What else was I thinking of? Oh, Donkey Kong Country. Criminally overrated. That game's not good. I said overrated. I didn't say bad.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, don't. You know, I know a million people on the internet are going to be like, "You're an idiot. These games are bad." And it's like I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying on the whole.
Yeah.
I get what you're
saying.
Yeah, compared to SNES era to the NES era, it's not even close. Like NES just blows it out of the water. You know, compare the SNES Genesis era to the PlayStation alone, and it just destroys it.
That's not fair.
Now, the PlayStation games haven't aged visually well, unfortunately, but the games themselves, you know, I don't even think it's a contest. Yeah, and like, I don't know, Final Fantasy VI. Everybody loves Final Fantasy VI. It's a good game. It's not as amazing as people think. They just fell in love with it at a certain time and place.
I wonder why. Why that was such, because I like personally, I've always loved the 16-bit era. I don't think it's the greatest. I think when PlayStation came out, that was probably the start of when it started becoming great. Then again, I didn't have all the NES games from way back when. So, but SNES was like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get what you're saying, man. Had some great games.
I'm not saying they didn't have great games. Every generation has great games, from the NES on anyway. But yeah, before that, I'm really not an authority to speak on that stuff. So whenever I talk games, it starts at Super Mario Bros. And goes forward from there.
Okay.
If I had to rate all the generations from the NES on to now,
yep,
the SNES Genesis, the 16-bit generation, is in last place.
Oh, man.
Now, you kind of missed the NES generation, so you don't know.
Yeah, I was in the tail end of it.
Yeah. So, yep. I mean, Final Fantasy 1, the Mega Mans, Contra, Mario 1, 2, and 3, Guardian Legend, Zelda, Adventure of Link, like all these amazing things that everybody was like playing in that generation, just you kind of missed most of it.
I will say NES games had more of a challenge than the 16-bit era. They seemed more challenging than playing, like, when I play anything on the 16-bit era, you can just hop right in and there's no issue.
Yeah, the old games are
flow through it until about halfway through when the challenges actually start coming along.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that for the most part. I think the game design got more complicated. My guess is because like they had greater hardware in the 16-bit generation. So my guess would be that one, they had this greater hardware, these bigger games now that they could make, and they were worried people might get overwhelmed. So it was like, well, if we tone the difficulty down a little bit, that helps. The other thing that I think was happening in this generation too, think about this. The NES generation, the 8-bit era, you're coming off of arcades. I mean, that was video games, was arcade games. Home console games were really not a big deal. Even with all the Atari stuff before that, it was really the arcade thing. So everything was kind of designed in that arcadey fashion, like that you die a lot, you know, and you die and you try again and you learn, and you die and you try again and you learn. And if you look at most of the good stuff in the 8-bit era, a lot of it's designed in that fashion.
Yes.
So I think, but what started to happen was the 8-bit generation built something. It built a foundation. And now they were, you know, if you're a game designer, now you're like, we don't have to just do arcadey. Like now we can do other things. And I think that's why you started to see changes in that era. Because now you were developing home console games with a different mindset because you had an installed user base. You didn't know you had that in the 8-bit era, so what did you try to sell them with? Well, here, it's like this other thing you understand, but now you can do it at home. So, I don't know. And I'm not, like, I'm just not totally dogging the 16-bit era. Some of my favorite games are from that era. I mean, talking Super Metroid, I absolutely adore that game.
It's a good game.
Shining Force 2, love those. The Streets of Rage games, some of my favorites. I love them, you know. So it's not like I disdain on the 16-bit era. It's just that I think people give it way too much credit for a generation that was kind of eh. It had a lot of... I just wish there was like nostalgia blinders you could put on people and really get to the nitty-gritty, you know.
Well, I mean, that's what people... I mean, a lot of people play games for that reason. It's something to have fun with, and then something that you've had a lot of fun with, you're going to remember more so than something that was probably more challenging, or at least the more casual gamers like myself. That's what we're going to remember the most.
Yeah, hey, and I'm nostalgic about things too, so, you know.
That's when we get to the shitty games. Did you have fun playing a shitty game? You probably like that shitty game, but deep inside, you know it's a real shitty game.
I actually heard somebody talking about this earlier this week on a podcast. I think it was that Brian Altano was saying that back in the day when you were a kid and you got a game, if it was shitty, you were stuck with it. So you had to like it.
You had to play it.
Like, you didn't have a choice. You couldn't just get another game,
Mm-hmm.
So there's always some of that from your youth, because you get a game and you're playing the shit out of that game because it's all you have. So
this is why I liked Quest 64 before I got Final Fantasy games.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it was fun then.
That's how it works.
And then you played Final Fantasy and you were probably like, the hell? I want my time back. You stole my life.
Oh, this is a cool RPG game. Oh, and then you play Final Fantasy. You're like, what in the really?
Yeah.
You call that a game?
So I kind of went on a bit of a rant there about like 16-bit stuff and all that. But like, tell me some more about why you like Mario World, man, because I did have a good time playing through that game.
Well, for one, the music was great. The artwork was great. It was different. It was colorful. It was bright. It seemed, well, for that generation, it seemed like a polished game. I also liked the fact that I could save and come back to it. It wasn't like Super Mario 3 where you just got to play through. You just got to keep playing.
That's a good point. Yep. Because a lot of my memories of Mario 1, 2, and 3 now are from playing it on the All-Stars cartridge, because...
Or you can actually save.
Well, you could save, and it had the improved graphics. Mm-hmm. So, I of course, played the hell out of them on the NES, but once I had that cartridge, that was where I went to play them, because it was like, well, they're all right here. Why go, mess around with the NES and have to deal with that headache?
Yeah, it was great. I liked the extra power up you had, so you could store like a feather or a mushroom up top. You then press select, get that. So you didn't have to stay small the whole game. You could actually save some things.
How about those mid-level checkpoints that they stole from Mega Man? That was brilliant.
They stole from it was just a nice little gaming feature, and
I know. Please, if somebody comes up with a good idea, I want you to incorporate it into your game. Please.
Oh, dude, one of my favorite things is there's a little football guys.
Oh, they were so stupid.
There's
really.
I think it's the second. It's not a second. I don't think it's the second world. It's after the first castle. The first level you get towards the end. You get the flowers that shoot out the little spores, and then you have the football guys throwing football at you. It's so like there's no really dodging that at all unless you can fly over it. You're just pretty much stuck trying to dodge the petals or the spores and the football. Like, this is kind of cool. And then they charge you. Yeah.
I did not like them guys at all.
Yeah. It was, man, I don't know, man.
Not because they were difficult, just because I didn't understand what they were doing there.
I didn't understand why they were in the game at all.
It was immersion breaking for me, because it was like, what? Huh? Like, that's from my world. Get it out of here.
Yeah, they had a bunch of different creatures, and they had the groundhogs. Prairie dogs, whatever you want to call them, that just kept popping up. It was great. And then addition of Yoshi, depending on which shell you eat, he has a different ability. I was like, man, this is so much fun.
Easy way to farm one-ups.
Great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's that secret place in the second Ghost Castle where if you get it, I think you fly up to the top and you run by, and it's like the secret road where you have 5 boxes, and they each have either the flower, a mushroom, or a feather, and then there's a 1-up box, and just keep replaying that over and over again until you get like 99 life, and you just go through. Like you didn't have to worry about anything else. You just did that once in the second level, and you can just fly through the game after that.
Yeah. You know what else, too? Since we're talking Mario World, let's talk a little Mario World 2. Yoshi's Island. Did you ever play that one?
Oh, yeah. Yoshi's Island was great.
I liked that. I I remember playing that and thinking like, whoa, this changes everything. And I was like, how is this a sequel to Mario World?
Hold on. There's two. There's Yoshi's Island, and then I think there's Yoshi's Story.
Yeah, Yoshi's Story was the N64.
Okay, so Yoshi's Island's the one with Baby Mario.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I was getting confused for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, which one am I thinking of? Yeah, Yoshi's Island.
And Baby Mario makes that annoying ass noise every time he falls off. It's like, I want to get him right back.
That's
like, just get the hell back on me, you little bastard. Like,
I don't know why they called that a sequel. The artwork
just completely to sell different.
Oh,
just great. To sell it. I'm sure that's all it was. They said if we put Mario World on here, more people will buy it.
Yeah, it was true, man. That was an excellent game. And it's just that antagonizing cry that made you pick him up. Like, God damn it, dude.
And they've really, they must have realized they had some with Yoshi. That was really my point to bringing that up, though, was that Yoshi must have been such a hit in Mario World that they felt the need that he needed his own game. I don't know.
Yeah. And then 64 killed him.
Yeah.
64, I was like, well, where's
it only took like 40 hours to find him, and then you couldn't do much with him.
Yep. Yeah. I missed that game. That's one, and because it's on the 16-bit era, I could just throw it on my phone and play real quick. So it's always nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that rounds out your core 4.
There it is.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So
what do we got for you?
Well, so to this point, I brought up Mega Man 2, my relaxation game. Diablo 2.
I don't get it.
The game I could never stop playing. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the game that I always go back to. And now I got to bring up the game that everybody's going to hate me for. But the last game in my list definitely has to be Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, that's a terrible choice. I don't even understand why you picked that one.
I know. It's just like, what's wrong with me?
Probably the worst character ever in the Final Fantasy series. Oh my gosh. And Sephiroth,
yeah, I know.
They could have done so much better.
Well, okay. So here's why I like 7 so much. One, it just blew me away when I first played it. And in the interest of full disclosure, I did not get it at launch. I was not interested in it when I read the preview stuff about it. I thought it looked weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, Kate Sith, and it's like a dude with a gun on his arm and, a bunch of chicks and, a cat, well, a tiger. But so like I was like, this looks really bizarro. And I wasn't really sure if it was going to really feel like Final Fantasy because it was like all like future-y, like, tech stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Final Fantasy VI did that. They tried to sell you on that in the first 20 minutes of the game, but then it was pretty much irrelevant for the greater part of the rest of the game. Whereas this looked like, hey, we're going like full futuristic here, So I really wasn't interested in the game. I didn't even buy the game. My brother-in-law bought the game for his PlayStation from a guy at school. He got it for like $10.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And this is the summer before Final Fantasy VIII is coming out. So this is like summer of 99 I'm playing it. So like I'm way behind the bell curve on this. Like, so I didn't get sucked up in the hype or any of that. Like this was a complete independent playthrough. So he had it and I'm at the house. I'm like, all right, I'm going to play it. So I start playing and I was like, all right, this is cool. The music immediately got me. I was like, this music is freaking great,
Every Final Fantasy game has great music.
Well, that's true. Umatsu's like just a god among us mere mortals. But, so you play it and it's just like, yeah, Cloud's kind of a D-bag in the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts to really come around. And like there's just all this like cool stuff you do that like no other Final Fantasy game had this atmosphere to it that this game had. Like going to Wall Market and trying to like find out where Tifa's at, Like you didn't do that in any other game. It didn't feel the same, cross-dressing with Cloud,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
leaving a child alone at a bar to run it, like that's hysterical. Like Square Enix would never do that now. They don't have the courage to do that. So there were like all these things they did in this game that just defied the way things normally get done. And let's face it, you got the coolest villain ever in any game. I mean,
yeah,
people like to hate on him, but I'm sorry, you're going to be hard pressed to do better than Sephiroth. Like, he's just the coolest looking dude, and he's got motive, like pretty decent motive too. I'm not going to say it's like great or amazing, but it's good enough to keep the game like interesting, and believable. Like, I remember the villain from Final Fantasy VI, Kefka. He's just a friggin' stupid, like, paper mache villain. He's like, I just want to destroy everything. Like, okay, great. Thanks, buddy.
I never played 6, but just the sound of that sounds horrible.
People love that stupid clown-looking dude. I'm like, I don't get it. He sucks. He's a terrible villain. Like, all he wants to do is destroy everything. Like, who cares? Like, you're just a maniac. Like, that's not interesting, Like, Sephiroth's interesting because he has like agenda and goal, and like he considers himself above regular humans, and that's like actually interesting. I think the other thing I love was the materia system.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't like some of the Final Fantasies where they kind of give you the blank palette characters, and you can basically customize and make them what you want. I personally do. I don't want my characters like locked into it. Well, this is what this character is, and that's what this character does. It's kind of like, well, let me decide that.
I am 100% agreeing with you on that.
Yeah. So, and I remember my first playthrough, I didn't quite grasp all the intricacies of the materia system, and I was loading all my characters up with tons of summons and spells, and not realizing I was making them weaker hit point and like strength wise. So, they weren't as good at the physical attacking stuff.
I think that happens with me in most of the Final Fantasy games I have right off in the beginning. It's usually the first playthrough. I'm like, oh, I probably should have done that instead. Like, I learned the actual mechanic of it later on. Yeah. And then I redo it, and I'm like, all right, got it now. Got it down pat.
Oh, yeah. Well, now it's great because now it's like, make Cloud a physical attacker, give him long range, put him in the back row, give him cover, give him counterattack. And it's just like watch him just slice and dice enemies and tear them to shreds, Like, and you figure these things out through playthroughs, And just everything about the game I liked. I liked the progression, like how you moved through the game. You went from Midgar, to the farm to get the chocobo, to get across the swamp, to get to the cave, to get to the other side, to get to Junon, and like everything just flows to Costa del Sol. So like you move right through the game and everything just feels like good about the adventure. I love like the secrets, like getting Vincent, who I missed the first time through and went back to, I think on disc 2, maybe I went back there, and I mean, Eris dies, like,
oh, dude.
What the hell? Like, what a bold move,
Yeah, they I think they do that. I think 7 started that, where an actual important character dies off and it just hits you. You're just like, God damn it, what?
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't the first game to do it, but that's the game I remember doing it because the way it was presented was just like kind of heartbreaking. The character that died was just, it was like, wait, not her. Like, anybody else, but not her. She's like the pure one. Like, you don't do that, Like, if Cloud dies, it sucks, but it's like, well, he's a fighter. If Barrett dies, it's like he's a fighter. If Tifa dies, it's like, okay, well, like, she lives with this kind of lunatic with a gun on his arm who runs a terrorist organization, but like Eris was like the flower girl from the slums who was just a nice quiet kid. Like, you just know, like, it was just so wrong for that to happen to her, you know. And she was your best caster, and they take her away from you.
Dude, I am listening to you, but I keep watching the cutscene.
That's okay.
I'm listening, like, yeah, but I'm actually watching this. It's a bad idea to put that up.
I just wanted to remind myself of why I love the game so much, you know. I really look forward to the remake.
Oh my gosh.
I'm also filled with so much trepidation that they're going to just ruin this like seminal moment in gaming. I mean, I always look at the PlayStation era as like when games grew up, and I always look at this as kind of the first step, you know, because it presented you with like this big, like massive story and like cinematic cutscenes, and like it fixed the things that they could never get on CD based systems before, you know. And that, you know, and then you went from this, you went to like Metal Gear, and then it was like, here's an adult story, like, and here's voice acting, and, you know, and then it all spiraled, you know. And you had all those other things like Resident Evil, and, you know, it was.
Yeah, I guess it did happen.
Like, games were coming of age at that point. Like, it wasn't just for kids anymore.
A quality story.
But you got to think about it too. At this time, guys like me who were kids during the NES generation were teenagers now. Like, this is where we wanted it to go. Like, we were getting older. We wanted the games to get older too. Like, you know? And while I still enjoyed the shit out of Mario 64 when it came out, you know, I also wanted more of those mature experiences like this, like Metal Gear, you know, that were kind of like pushing the envelope, you know. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I could go on about Final Fantasy VII for the rest of the episode. So,
let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not. We got to talk some Fallout.
Yeah.
And, you know, before my voice dies. So, yeah, so that's me. That's my core 4. That's Chris's core 4. You all have a better idea where we're coming from now. Any of you out there who listen, feel free to send us your core 4. I would love to read a few of these on the show. Kind of like, you know, see where everybody else comes from with that stuff.
I would love that.
Yeah. Because I always like when we have a guest and they give the core 4, and I'll kind of be like, yeah, I get that. What?
Yeah.
How does that come together, you know? Like, it's like a non-polyhedral or something. So, all right. So you ready for some topic of the night, Chris?
Let's get started.
Okay. Topic of the night, Fallout. Fallout 4 comes out on Tuesday. It's only a few days away now. Obviously, the hype is getting big. I'm starting to really, not like I used to with the hype for a new game, but it's there. I guess if I didn't have Metal Gear, I'd be a lot more like, give it to me now. But I'm kind of like, well, I got Metal Gear. I'll be good till Tuesday.
And I think that's the thing. There's been every few months, there's been that one like good game that's going to take a lot of time, so you can actually wait. You actually have something to do, so you don't get so hype. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I've been trying to contain the hype, but it's tough.
Yeah, I'll bet. No, so Fallout. What's your history with Fallout, Chris? Like, maybe that's where we should start. Is kind of just what have we each played of the series?
Well, on my Steam account, I own all 3, but only played. Well, let me rephrase that. I own all the Fallout games, and I've only played 3 in only 5 minutes of New Vegas. 3 is literally my entrance to the game. Entrance to the game and that whole open world RPG. So I had no idea what to expect from that game. My favorite, my like prominent, like my memory from that game is walking out of the vault and then watching the light hit you and then kind of fade away. I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. But then I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I was speccing into for the special talents. I had no idea what I was doing for anything. I didn't know I had to save ammo. I thought it was going to be a fun little thing. Then just like entering the wasteland and being attacked immediately was, it helped me get the controls right away.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was like, I've never played an open world RPG. Like, I've always played RPGs. I knew about speccing into different things, but I had no idea what each of those talents did. So it was different. And then actually having conversations with the people and actually being able to choose what I wanted to answer was another, like, yeah, all right. Okay, I get this. This is going to be fun. But, yeah, that game opened me up to a lot of things. Then it got me into Oblivion, and then obviously the Skyrim. And then, can we just we'll call it a gateway drug.
yeah, like I can definitely see how you would say that.
It's I owe that game a lot. I actually get into the RPG games. It was kind of exactly what I needed at that time. I was in it was kind of a low point at that point in my life. Like, I went to college and then did really well first year and tried to get scholarships, couldn't get it. So it's kind of like, man, am I really, I was in a kind of like a depressed mode. And then I got that game and I was like, yep, this is going to take all my time and no longer thinking about those issues. And it was great. It was everything about it, the gunplay, just being in first person and actually enjoying it. And that experience was great. And then I learned about third person when certain situations arose. It was a lot better. But yeah, man. It was great.
Yeah, well, I remember I never played the Fallout games because I didn't have a PC back in the day. So I didn't play 1 or 2 or Tactics.
Okay.
I did later buy them, the collection that came out after 3. And I tried to go back to them, and I just could not. Some of them systems are a bit archaic and clunky now to try to run with. I would love for them to remaster because I'd like to kind of experience them, but actually playing them just isn't really worth it. Yeah, but I remember playing 3. My very first thoughts were, it's Oblivion with guns. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I can work with this. And that the level up system was way better than the garbage Oblivion system they used to have with the whole weird, like, level this and this up, but try not to level this and this up because you'll mess up the balance of the bonuses. And it was just great. It was like level up, put points, pick perks, go. And I was like, perfect. And then, so my first experience with Fallout was basically leaving Vault 101. But here's an interesting little story. I'm playing the game, right? And I start with the bat because I'm like, well, I have the bat. And I think it's the other thing, you get the BB gun, right?
Yeah,
or maybe you get the handgun.
The pistol from one of the guys.
Yeah, well, I use the bat first. And so I'm beating up rad roaches with the bat, using VATs with the bat. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I don't get this, because using the melee weapons with VATs is kind of like counterintuitive.
Yeah, that does.
Especially like in the first moments of the game when you don't understand how everything works yet, So I get the pistol but never use it. I get up to the part where they're what's his name? The guy who runs the vault. I cannot remember.
Oh, the cowboy. Oh no, the vault?
Yeah. The overseer. There we go. So the overseer and one of his security guys are questioning Amada about where I'm at.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I'm not letting them do anything to Amada like that. I don't realize it's the overseer in there, though. So I arm myself with the pistol, open the door, right, and go right into VATS. And then I'm like, oh, I see how this works now. So I pick the overseer and aim at the head.
Yep, I did that.
Boom! There goes his head. And I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? Dude. Like, I still get like goosebumps thinking about it today. And Amada was so mad at me.
That's the worst part about it, because you're like, yeah, that shit was awesome. And then she's like pissed off at you, like, oh, That was your dad, wasn't it? Kind of a monster, ain't I?
Yeah. Yeah, that set me on a bad path too, because obviously I go to Megaton right after that, and I'm just like, wait, no. I'm like, there's no way the game's gonna let me nuke this town. Like
right away. They give you that first option.
The first, like, I go to the bar, and the first guy I talk to is the dude with the shit. Well, no, I talk to the ghoul, and then I'm like, oh, who's this cool looking guy in the corner? And I talk to him, and he's like, yo, blow this bitch up, would you? And I'm like, okay, can I really do that? So I run on off to Tenpenny Tower, and I blew that sumbitch up. And me and my brother were watching, and I'm laughing with giddy glee because this actually worked.
Yep.
And my brother's just looking at me like, dude, you got problems, you know?
Oh man.
So, yeah, it was good times. And then I really started peeling back the layers of the game. And I started realizing everything that was going on. And I liked a lot of the missions. You know, I loved finding the bobbleheads. The expansions were pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't even find all the bobbleheads.
Well, I was obsessed with the idea of making a perfect character, so I had to.
Oh man, dude, this kill compilation you have is great.
Oh, this is just nuts, dude. It's just heads rolling everywhere.
Yep.
Although I like the guy who jumped off Tenpenny Tower and like broke into a bunch of pieces and then got exploded by his own grenade.
That was great.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely a really cool compilation I stumbled upon here.
I do think
the plasma, nice.
One of my
I love those plasma rifles.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite things was the upgrading weapons. So you get the weapons, you got I think what I wasn't expecting to play a game that was this intuitive. So you got to repair your weapons. They're not going to last a long time. Then you also have to get the ammo. The radiation was another thing that bothered me.
I didn't seem to run it in the beginning. It did when I didn't have like any supplies.
When I didn't understand the game. This is like the first time I'm playing this open world thing, and I'm slowly dying from radiation. Another thing, when you're in the water and you're drowning, and you start watching your health die, and then you get some of the bottled water, you start drinking the bottled water, and you pretty much survive in the water.
Yeah, you survive drowning by drinking water.
Drinking the water. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, I know.
This game. This is also the first game where I learned that you should save before opening doors.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yep. Sometimes you open the doors and it's just an ass whooping waiting on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Such a good game. Oh, and then just using stealth to go around. Like, when I first played, because I had no idea, so I was just experimenting with everything. So you go to Megaton, and I was like, oh, I can steal shit? So waited till nighttime, started stealthing around, going around stealing things, and then one dude caught me, and then the whole town was alerted. And I was like, oh, well, shit, I'm in over my head. I should have done this. And so I thought, well, if I escape the town, no one's going to follow me, right? There's a loading screen. Maybe the game is like glitchy that way. Nope. Follow me outside the town. I died then. Oh man, some good memories. Learning new mechanics really quickly. But I really need to play New Vegas. That was the expansion the game I needed to play.
Oh, so you didn't play New Vegas?
No, I didn't.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay. New Vegas is an interesting case because it does some things better than Fallout 3, and it does some things a lot worse. For instance, the beginning of the game is pretty much you get shot in the head and you wake up in a doctor's office in this little hamlet.
Nice.
Once you get done the initial conversation, you can walk out of doctor's house and leave the village and go, which is awesome because you can just start playing. No vault, no having to grow up or, it doesn't take an hour to get started.
Okay.
If you want to hang around the town, there's a bunch of people who have quests and tutorial kind of shit for you. Yeah. So you can get yourself acquainted with the game, but it's all completely skippable. They added weapon modifications and specific kinds of ammo you could use in weapons. So that was really cool. Especially the different kinds of ammo. I was always like mixing and matching my ammo with that one.
Interesting.
Yeah. They did like the world is a lot smaller though. It's not big like the Capital Wasteland. Mm-hmm. And it sucks in the beginning of the game, you start like right up the street from New Vegas, but the whole path going up to New Vegas is pretty much protected by these annoying like wasp bee things.
Oh, fuck them.
Yeah, that are like super deadly at that point in the game. So if you try to just walk right to New Vegas, you can't. But all the quests kind of take you around the other way. So you pretty much have to do like a circle all the way around the map back around to New Vegas.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it's kind of annoying in that on a replay. On the first playthrough, it's fine because you're, trying to get started anyway. Trying to think. The DLCs for that game were odd. The first one is terrible. It takes you to this like remote location where you fight like all these weird ghost things. And when you're done, you can never go back. So if you miss anything, you're screwed. The second one takes you to this weird canyon that's not interesting pretty much in any way, shape, or form.
Interesting.
Yeah. Although you can go back to that one. The third one is called Old World Blues. And that one is highly debated between people, but I think most people like it because it's goofy.
Okay.
Like there's a toaster that wants to like destroy the world. Like he wants to burn everything, And I think it was the radio. Was it the radio? Was the really sensual guy? Yeah, I forget. But it had all this like weird quirky stuff to it. And it just like was like, well, let's just go off the deep end and here's all the weird stuff we can do. So I really liked it. It was like weird science kind of stuff,
Okay. I mean, that's pretty much Fallout in general, based on where it is. But this seems like it's a little.
This just took it to a different degree, and it took it to like that kind of like kooky, like 50s or 60s like television, bizarro like science theater kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Just science humor, we'll say. So it was really neat, though. I liked that one. And then the last one was just, I don't know, by the time that came out, I wasn't too interested. Yeah. It was cool because you get another super mutant companion, so that was fun.
Okay. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were some really neat things to it, but it didn't have that feel that 3 had. Like 3 felt like this really well thought out, well developed, well polished game. New Vegas felt like let's get another game out of the engine kind of game.
Yeah, it wasn't developed by the same people though, right?
No, it was done by Obsidian, not Bethesda.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Todd Howard's team was at that point busy working on Skyrim. So yeah, they had Obsidian do the sequel.
Okay.
Or the follow-up or whatever. So, I don't know. Fallout New Vegas is kind of like one of them things. Some people like it more than 3. Some people like it less. I'm kind of in between. I'm kind of like, all in all, I kind of give the nudge to 3. But, I mean, it's really a toss-up. They're kind of the exact same game on the same engine. There's just, New Vegas has some better tweaks to it that make it a bit more playable. 3 kind of just has a better place to explore.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I had a friend who complained that Fallout 3 was too bland. Like he was like they didn't try too hard on making the post-apocalyptic world better. I was like, well, dude, what did you expect? Like we're talking about nukes destroying an area. Like,
well, yeah, there's that, and don't forget
I expect.
Let's not forget the hardware they were working with at the time too. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a very difficult thing to pull off. I mean, the PlayStation 3 version was buggy as hell.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's because it was a port, though, right? Because they had the PC version, and then it came, or then they
No, I think everything launched simultaneously, but the problem had more to do with the PlayStation 3's architecture, and all the Bethesda games ran like garbage on it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I eventually, because I bought it on PS3 first, played a ton of the game, got to a point where I could no longer play the game because it would just freeze all the time. Like within 5 minutes of playing the game, it would just get locked up and freeze. So I ended up buying it on the 360 and then playing it again over there and doing everything and getting 100% for that game. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't even know it was that bad on there. Yeah, I only played on the 360 and PC. I didn't play. Didn't even bother getting it for the PS3.
Yeah. Oh, you know what else? Thinking more about New Vegas. I always thought of New Vegas as more like an expansion pack for Fallout 3.
I originally thought it was an expansion pack.
In a lot of ways, it feels like it.
I get that. I like when it came out, somebody was telling me, and I was like, "Oh, another expansion? Like another? Do I have to download it? How much is it?" He told me the full price. I was like, "Wait, is this a separate game? Like this can't be the same thing." And I realized it was a completely different game. Well, not completely different, but it was its own separate title. But yeah, still haven't played it. I got to get on that.
Oh, the other thing, the casinos. So much fun. Because if you make a character with a 10 luck and you go in there and play blackjack, you will hit on ridiculous hands.
Really?
Oh, it's so easy to break all 3 casinos, and they basically kick you out if you make enough money in them. Yeah. You can hit on 20 and you'll get an ace like 1 in every 3 times.
Oh, that's great.
It's so ridiculous how great your luck is in the casino with a 10 luck. It was one of the most fun things I did. Like my second time through, I made a character who had a 10 strength and a 10 luck, and I just punched everything to death. Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little more in general about the series here. What do you like about the Fallout series in particular that really attracts you to it?
The world, just the post-apocalyptic world. And the fact that with that, you can pretty much add whatever the hell you want into it. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Cool. No problem. There was nothing. I don't think they added anything in there that made me feel like it broke the immersion of the game. Even
for the
even
most
the
part, yeah, I can't really think of anything in particular at the moment. I'm sure like 10 minutes after we end the show, I'll be like, oh, yeah, there was that thing that made no sense. But
and the weapons and everything was different. You didn't have the same weapon over and over again. You could pretty much do different plasma rifles, the mini nuke. What was that one called? Was it Big Boy?
Fat Boy.
Fat Boy, that's it. Yeah, like I mean,
I was thinking of the Merv.
Oh, the Merv. Nah.
Yeah, because that was great because it was just like, I'm going to fire 9 nukes at once.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I think it's the survival in the post-apocalyptic world. The fact that you didn't have to play the main story to enjoy the game. You could just do all the side missions and just pretty much explore wherever you wanted to and have fun. Which, like I said, it kind of broke me into the rest of the open world games. And the character customization, like there was really no right or wrong with how you played your character. Like you can, like you said, you put a dude who had 10 strength and 10 luck and just went around punching the shit out of people. Like you could do that, or you could do a guy who's persuasive and just wins or you could just persuade people to do whatever he wants. It's like, I don't know. I'm really drawn to being able to create my character any way I wanted to, just because. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite things. It's like I have total freedom with how I want to play this character. I don't need to play it this way, and this character is going to be the best way to play the game. No, it's like whatever character I want, do whatever I need to do. It's great.
Yeah, there's definitely some strategies people think are the best way to handle the game, but you can pretty much do whatever you want.
I hear that, and I've read some, and I'm just like, dude, but that's not what this game's about. Like, the way they just gave you a game and allow you to do whatever you wanted to do in it. Like, you didn't have to play it in a specific way just to beat the game, unless you're one of those perfectionists who got to do the best build, and the best build's going to get me through the game, and I'm just going to beat the game. It's like, man.
Nothing wrong with being a perfectionist.
Oh, man. Billy, that's why I played it. I never played the game to beat the story. I was like, nah, I'm just going to, you know what? Today I'm going here. Today I'm going there. It was just complete freedom to do what I wanted to do. I didn't feel like I had to finish the story just to finish the story until it started heating up. Then that's when I finished some of the stories. And then the different factions in there too. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about the things that I like about the series. And I actually like the lore, like the idea of like all the things that happened prior to the Fallout.
Yep.
And the idea that, like, you know, China struck first. And I love when you like hack into old computers and you find like notes from people about everything that happened like that day or like the days leading up to it.
Yep.
Like that really fascinates me. I love when I find like crazy things like Andale. Do you remember Andale?
No.
The cannibal town? Where they just act like everything's okay. Like everything's great. You know? And as soon as I got there, I knew something was wrong. So I was like, what the hell's going on here? You know? And then I met the adults in the town because I met the kids outside. Then I went inside and met the adults. And I was like, oh, I know what's happening here. You know? But it's like just great. Nothing ever takes you there that I recall. I don't remember any missions taking you there. You just go there of your own accord. Like it's just one of them things you stumble upon. You know? I like the weapons myself. I know you said the weapons. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about A321's plasma rifle.
Oh.
And I would be horribly remiss if I did not talk about the terrible shotgun. Greatest name ever, and that thing was a beast.
You gotta do more details. I don't think I got that one.
You didn't get the terrible shotgun?
I don't think so.
Okay, here's basically what it is. It's a shotgun that does crap tons of damage and never needs to be repaired. Its durability is amazing. It takes forever to wear down.
That is great.
Yeah. Also, and I'm surprised you didn't say this, the armor.
Oh, the different armor.
Oh, man.
It actually shows up on your character, so you got your
you don't really get to see it too often, but the Brotherhood of Steel, like the power armor and stuff, oh, you're like so close to invincible in that stuff. The stealth suit you get from Operation Anchorage, that thing is awesome. And the perks, man. The perks are just so great. So great. So
much time trying to figure out which perks I actually wanted.
I remember my first playthrough when I was playing and my brother was watching. I hit level 6 and I take Bloody Mess because I see it and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like out in the wasteland when I get it. So I'm walking around and I stumble upon this chick. And she's like, you know, a raider chick. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, here we go. So I pull out my shotgun and I'm like, let's see what Bloody Mess does, you know. And she like rushes me and I go into VATS and I aim at her head. And I hit her in the head, and no joke, in slow motion, her 2 eyeballs just like split in a V and go around the sides of my head. And I was just like, this is insane. Are you kidding me that this is real? And then, like, the craziest shit would happen with that perk, which is what makes it fun. Not that it's gory, that like weird shit happens. because you would like shoot somebody in the leg, with a pistol, and their whole body would just fall apart. Like the arms come flying off and the head flies off, and you're like, I shot him in the ankle. Like, what the hell?
Oh,
It was just so great. I so hope Bloody Mess makes a return.
Oh, they should add it.
You just got the most like bizarro like gore scenes out of that. Like just ridiculous stuff.
I hope they stay true to how Fallout 3 was. Like, it was a serious game, but it also had that humor in there.
Yeah, well, like Vault Boy just adds that like that continual moment of levity,
Oh man, I'm hoping. Like, I'm thinking. Like, I remember playing it. I remember just like there's serious moments, and then there's just pure comical moments. And I'm hoping, because I don't know if you've watched it, but the gameplay trailer came out where they're talking about the story, and I just watched them. Like, hopefully this isn't as serious toned as the gameplay shows it. And I don't remember any of the Fallout 3 trailers because I wasn't into the whole watching trailers of games before it came out.
Yeah, well, if I remember, what was Fallout 3? Something else was coming out around then that I wanted, if I remember correctly. And I remember just kind of Fallout being overshadowed by that.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I know my buddy was really big on it, but I can't say that I really bought the hype train.
Yeah, I got it late though. I think I got the Game of the Year edition was when I bought the actual Fallout 3. So I definitely was not looking at any trailers or getting hyped for it. And then I didn't play any of the other ones beforehand, so it wasn't like I was going to be able to. I didn't have anything to compare. And speaking of that, I was noticing I never played them, but I did see how it went from like a 2D isometric view into this full-on 3D game. Like, this is such an improvement from going from 2 to 3. I now understand why there's so many people that were obsessed with this game and impressed by it. They really did well with that.
You know what I do remember? I remember seeing a commercial for it and being like, what is this game? This looks awesome. And then it was like Fallout. And I was like, oh, that's those computer games I never played, And then I ended up picking it up. But I did remember what game it was. It was Gears of War 2.
Okay.
Yeah, because the first Gears of War was like one of them games I absolutely adored and fell in love with. Mm-hmm. And then Gears of War 2 was coming out, and I remember I bought it and I liked it for about 3 days, and then I was like, this game's really bad.
Yeah,
that was kind of when I was done with the Gears of War series, unfortunately.
I was done after playing multiplayer on 1. Like, I liked the story in 1, but I hated playing any of the multiplayer in there. Like, I hate third-person multiplayer games. Like, it's
I love it, so we're just gonna have to agree to disagree there. I played so much Gears of War multiplayer; it was ridiculous.
I couldn't do it. I love the gameplay, but I just couldn't do the multiplayer. I don't know why; it just didn't sit well with me. But yeah, back to Fallout. Yeah, I wasn't definitely was not on the hype train for that because I got it late.
Oh, geez. Fallout, October 28th, 2008. One day before the Phillies won the World Series.
The who?
The Phillies.
You guys doing good now? You guys,
yeah. When's the last time the Twins did anything?
Hey, at least we have a couple, all right?
So do we.
But yeah,
I just heard a rumor that the Wild are moving to Austin, Texas.
Dude, that would be the worst thing to happen to anybody. Yeah, we sold the second team to Texas again. So
you guys can have an expansion team in another decade.
Especially after that stadium was built. Nah, never happened.
Yeah.
I think that the whole state would riot.
Anyway, that just got me back to thinking that was like one weird week for me, man.
I can't imagine being here when Philly sports team actually wins.
Let's put it this way, dude. Philadelphia has a population of roughly 1.5 million people. Mm-hmm. 2 million people went to the parade.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So people could say anything they want about Philly sports fans, but the one thing they can't say is that we don't show up because
very true. Very
yeah,
true.
that was insane. I tried to get down there and immediately had to turn around because my kids would not have been safe down there. Like it was way too many humans.
Wow.
Yeah, like people were walking to the terminal because they could not get on a bus. Every bus was full. Like so people were walking miles to the bus terminal. There was just a insane line of people going just stretching so far back. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That would have been amazing to see.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that was a weird week. Weird week. Kind of glad I wasn't on Fallout 3. It would have really been hard pressed for space that week.
Mm-hmm.
The Phillies won the World Series. There was Halloween. My brother had a Halloween party. My dad died. Like it was yeah. So, you know, a lot of stuff happened that week. I was booked for time anyway.
That's a lot of ups and downs.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes, it is. In 1 week.
Very stressful.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess what this gets me to is like Fallout 4, you know, that's next week. And next week's Gamecast, we will be talking all about the Fallout from Fallout 4. So be here and share some stories with us on Twitter at The Collective GC. Or if they're longer, email us at collectivegamescast@gmail.com because we definitely want to hear what you've been up to in Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I'm sure somebody's going to have a better story than us.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah. But what's your hype level for Fallout 4?
It's very hype. I waited until the last gameplay trailer. I was skeptical for a while because I was seeing, you know, you when you're on the internet, you hear a lot of hate. Like the internet's like 70% hate and then 30% actual constructive criticism. So like you hear about it and you're like, oh, the graphics, the graphics, this gameplay looks bad. And I was a little skeptical because I was like, I got to see more of this. Like I got to see an actual Bethesda released trailer. I want to know what an actual gameplay looks like. And then I saw it on Tuesday and was blown away. I was like, I don't need better graphics. I don't need any of that. It's still an improvement. It's not next gen tier. It's not Witcher 3 tier. It was just fantastic. And I was like, as long as they create this game and it's released with no bugs, I'm satisfied. It looks good. I like the idea that they're going pre-Fallout, so you get to see everything beforehand and then you see it afterwards. It's going to be great.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm kind of with you on the graphics thing. Like, the graphics obviously should look better than the 3 in New Vegas, but what I kind of am more excited about the game is the idea that we're moving on, because as a console gamer here, we're moving away from the last gen of consoles where we had like 512 megs of memory to 8 gigs of memory.
Yep.
There should be far more ability for the game to remember things without crashing.
Yes.
You know, we're also running systems that are much more like PCs now, so they should be a lot easier to work with. No more cell processors and stuff like that. So I'm hoping for a less glitchy experience. I know it won't be glitch free when you do these kind of games, but I'm hoping for something that works a bit cleaner than before.
I always feel like as long as a glitch doesn't crash the game, I'm not upset by it. Like I love the little Skyrim glitches in there. Just add a little humor to it. It's like, oh, what in the hell is going on?
Well,
it's going to happen.
When like a giant like pinballs you to the moon, that's funny.
That's great.
Like if you're gonna kill me, let me get a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
You know, like when I can put a bucket on someone's head and they don't realize I stole their pants, that's awesome. You know, that's a glitch I like. You know, and then they go patch it out.
It's the glitches that actually stop you from doing what you need to do in the game. That's when I would get upset. And so far, I haven't experienced that.
Yeah, well, like, I remember New Vegas had that terrible glitch where if you took a certain companion into this one vault that like catches fire and you got to escape. He gets stuck in there, and then you leave the vault. You can never go back into it. Your companion is trapped in there, and you can never fast travel because your companion is stuck somewhere.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, like there's some fast travel glitch. I forget exactly what it is because it's been years now since I played it. But basically, when you try to fast travel, it like says like, you know, waiting for companion or something. So you're just no more fast travel. Or you can't leave the vault. I forget what it was.
That breaks the game.
It was one or the other. It was either you couldn't fast travel anymore or you could never escape the vault because your companion was trapped and it wouldn't let you leave. And you couldn't free him in any possible way. So you basically had to have a back save or had to start over.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was just, the bottom line is it was a really bad bug that, you know, there should have been more testing going into that because obviously most people want to play with a companion character. So, yeah.
And that'll break the game. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully we get some that was the other thing I was thinking. If the graphics aren't as top notch as everyone wants it, with now the addition of mods on consoles, I'm sure someone's going to come up with an enhanced graphics mod. Like, I mean, it's inevitable. They've done it for all the other games. They're going to do it for this one, I assume.
Yeah, probably.
And I mean, the systems can handle it. It should be fine. Just give me a stable game. That's all I want.
It'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I was thinking about this. I think my hype level is about a 6 right now.
Out of 6?
Out of 10. And I think most of that has to do with the fact that I'm pretty happy playing Metal Gear right now. So I'm good till Tuesday. Now, I think on Tuesday, my hype level will be about an 11 out of 10.
You mean Monday night?
Maybe.
Leading up to it?
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I try not to get too hype about day one with games anymore because, you know, things seem to get messy anymore on day one. So,
yeah.
My hope is that if there's any issues, they're all resolved by the weekend.
That's what, because that's my 3 days. You know, I'm going to want, want to play all of those 3 days. So, let's hopefully if there's any issues, they do get that fixed. It's the most important. I would say if I had to rate myself on a scale, my hype, it's probably at a solid 8.
So you're pretty high up there.
Mm-hmm.
But you gave up on Metal Gear.
I wouldn't say give up, but I haven't played it much. But I think if I was at your level of Metal Gear, I would probably be at the same hype level. It's like, I already got a game right now. I'm fine until, you know, it actually releases. But, yeah.
It sucks, too, because I know I can't really play the two at the same time. They're not the kind of games you can really play together.
You can if you moderate yourself. You know, you can't just...
yeah. I mean, you can.
12
but
hours.
They're not the kind of games I tend to play together because they're both very big and involved. Like, you sit down to do a mission in Metal Gear and 6 hours pass, you know. And your kids are like, Dad, why haven't you fed us? You
got to prep for that. You got to do all your deployments, and then you got to go and do all your side ops, and then...
Actually, there's something really beautiful with that, since you mentioned it. I love now just when I try to get all the enemy things that I don't like the riot suits, the shields, the night vision goggles.
The helmets.
You know, the helmets. And when I try to get it so that they all pop back up at the same time. And then I just send all my teams, because I can send 6 teams out to just knock all 6 of the things I don't want the enemy to have out. And then I just walk away for 40 minutes and do stuff and get things done. And then I come back in 40 minutes. They've all done their job, hopefully successfully. And then I go and run a few missions when the enemies are weaker.
It's brilliant.
It helps me get more stuff done and take breaks from the game. So
just 40 minutes, though, you know.
You can get a lot done in 40 minutes.
I just need a half hour. That's all I need.
You can make another human life in 40 minutes, sir.
This is very true. This is very, very true.
You can end a marriage in 40 minutes. And not by making a human life, not that. You know.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you can do a lot in 40 minutes.
Yeah. I tend to, if I play a game for more than like 4 hours, I tend to take a couple-hour break. But I think I'm going to take that idea of doing all the side ops, deploy them all, get them done. I might take that into consideration.
Okay.
Not a bad plan.
I just thought of the best thing you can probably do in 40 minutes.
All right, what's that?
You can go to Starbucks and get a delicious handcrafted beverage.
If that takes 40 minutes?
Well, depending on how far away it is.
That's true.
And how slowly you want to enjoy the beverage.
Oh, yeah.
And that rolls right into my Malgadar's Minute, too.
Well, okay. That's perfect, then. Let's go.
So, Malgadar's Minute. So, this is a little different this week for the Malgadar's Minute. But those of you fans of the show, you already know Malgadar's Minute. I go off on a rant about something, usually for a minute, not always. But this week, I got to talk about Starbucks. Oh, my God. Starbucks is the greatest thing ever. Like, there's sex, and then there's Starbucks, and there's video games, and they all just compete for, like, best thing ever. Now, it's just, I love it. I can't, I have to watch myself that I don't spend too much money at Starbucks. But we have a problem here on the East Coast. We need more Starbucks. There's not enough of them. I don't know what's going on. I know this ain't the West Coast where you get it like every 2 blocks, but that's where we need this to get on the East Coast. We need Starbucks everywhere because there's huge lines all the time at all the Starbucks. You're clearly making money hand over fist. You need to build more Starbucks. I don't want to wait in lines all the time because some stupid chick in a minivan had to buy like 8 strawberries and cream frappuccinos. It's ridiculous. All right. That's my rant.
I don't know, man. I used to work there for 3 years. I think
they just need to have a rule about drive-through that if you want more than 2 drinks, you need to get off your lazy ass, get out of your fucking car and walk in. Like drive-through is about in and out, go. Like, you know, you don't order like a van full of drinks. Oh God, It happens to me like at least once a week. Some asshole tries to order like 1 million drinks. It's like you are in a drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
This is not for your abject laziness. This is for people on the go. This is America. We keep it moving. You know, we don't sit down and enjoy our coffee. We just go. We get it and we move.
We had this lady think she can order, I think it was 24 drinks for her office through drive-thru.
Oh, dear God.
And she said, she's like, I have a really big order. It's from my office, and I was wondering if you guys could help carry them out to the car. And I was like, wait, why are you in a drive-thru? She's like, I thought I could just order them through the drive-thru. You can just hand them through the window. I was like, no, you got to come in for that. How many do you have? She's like, it's like 20-something. I was like, no, are they all the same drinks? She goes, no, they're all different. I'm like, get out of the car and come inside, please. Like, we are not going to hand you out these drinks. Like, no. Oh, man. Like, usually when we get that, there's 2 registers, so we can do, we'd have one person helping the regular customers, and then the people with the large orders, we'd have them order at the second register, and we just write them down and then have one person separate from the person who's doing the regular customers. So we'd make a system so then that person wouldn't have to wait and they're not holding up anybody else. And but coming through the drive, I was like, are you like really? Why did you think that was an okay thing? There's 4 cars behind you. Why was that even a possibility, man? Like, come on.
Oh man.
Yeah. But I agree though. I'm so tired of Dunkin' Donuts. I've recently discovered that a large cup of coffee from Dunkin' is more than a large cup of Starbucks, and I was like,
far inferior quality too.
Oh my gosh, it is, and it just sits there and burns.
Yeah, it's just oh God, it's terrible.
So bad. It's so bad. Oh man, I am 100% on your side with that. We definitely need more.
Hey, Dunkin's better than like Folgers and all that like flake coffee, but man, I mean, just geez, come on, Starbucks, you got to be doing good over here. Build more.
They were. You remember when they were doing good?
Well, they've been expanding into this region. I mean, hell, 5 years ago you couldn't even find one here. So
Well,
I
that's
mean,
because
it's getting better.
that was during a downtime of Starbucks. Like they just started rebuilding them, but I think they're staying more in the suburban areas. Like Philly's just getting screwed over.
Yeah, I know. It's not like a top 5 like market in the whole country or anything.
People are satisfied with their Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Oh God, Dunkin'. I'm sorry, Dunkin'. You guys got to step your game up. I
They
love
don't
how they
care,
sell.
man.
I love how they sell like macchiatos now. Like I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
trust you. Like you can't even get coffee right, and you expect me to come there and buy a specialty beverage?
I tried one of their turbo shots. So I was like, oh, that's espresso. That should be good. Oh God, it was so bad, man.
I'm with you, dude.
I
And like
drink
I
it
don't like being
before
a
my
coffee
round.
snob, but just like I don't know. As I get older, man, quality. It's all about quality.
I tell you, man. I tell people this all the time. I was like, listen, I have nothing against whatever you drink, but I personally want to taste something of quality as I'm drinking it. Like I drink black coffee. People still find that weird, but I want to actually taste my coffee. I don't want to have to like drink it and then cringe. Just like, ugh.
Well,
Like I
yeah,
shouldn't fight to swallow my coffee. Like it should be something enjoyable.
yeah, man.
You know?
I'm with you. It's one of them things you kind of have to get used to though, because American coffee is all about enough cream to make it pale and enough sugar that the spoon stands up in it, right? So
Oh, that is Dunkin'
yeah,
to a T, man.
that's pretty gross to me.
Yep.
So anyway, I don't know. That's me. I'm a coffee guy. I'm a Starbucks guy, and I like good quality stuff.
There
So
you go.
And before you judge me for being a coffee snob, don't even get me started on wine because you probably like it because that seems to be what everybody likes.
You don't
And
like wine?
I can't do wine.
Ah,
I know. I'm the Italian guy who doesn't like wine. Give me a
really
break.
crazy. I was
Hey,
brewing
whatever,
it
man.
for a while.
You say wine, I say coffee. That's like a song, ain't it?
I don't think so. I'm pretty
All
sure
right.
it's a
So
song.
before we wrap this thing up, Chris, I was thinking we should do a great moment in gaming tonight since we don't have 20 questions.
All right.
You got anything you'd like to recommend for a great moment in gaming?
I have one.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you're going to like it too much.
That's okay. Even better.
So my first, is it the first? No, it's not the first, but it was one of the first on the next gen consoles, the 360, PS3.
Okay.
Was Call of Duty 4, right? So
All right.
basic gameplay, basic first person shooter. The story was great. It was before I swear, like they ended up hiring Michael Bay to direct all the games after Call of Duty 4. But like like it was a great story. You got your both sides. You got the SAS, and I can't remember what the American forces were that they used. It wasn't a normal one. But you got good stories. You got them from both sides, and it was great. But then at the end, you're trying to stop this nuke from going off, and then it goes off, and you're like, oh shit, your helicopter goes down, and there's this moment right after the helicopter goes down where you're crawling on the floor where it looks like you survived, and then you just pass out. And I was like, this is probably the greatest ending of a video game that I've played.
Well, it was that moment when you realized that they set the nuke off and you were like, your helicopter's trying to get away, and it was like, are we able to outrun this thing? Like, I don't know how fast a nuclear bomb moves, but I'm guessing that you know what I mean, that the explosion just moves at an insane rate of speed. But at first it seems like you might be able to outrun it, and then it's just like, oh shit.
It's a game. The heroes always survive.
Yeah. Nope. Well, and it was just, oh man. And that scene, I imagine that's not even possible, that scene where the guy crawls out of the chopper, but
yeah.
I mean, it definitely adds a ton of Hollywood style dramatic effect. Like,
and I think they were trying to top that in every single game, and this is why they've gotten so ridiculous of the late. Like that was great. That was the entry to that franchise, and then just kind of died.
that entire game, there's only two things I really remember from that. And one is that scene, and the other is the part where you have to snipe the dude and you got to watch the little flag and adjust for the wind. And
Oh, Chernobyl. Yeah, that was a really good mission.
And what was interesting was I immediately went and asked my brother, who did a little bit of sniping in the Marines, and he was like, nah. He's like, you don't have to do any of that. He's like, the new sniper rifles, you can adjust them for all that ahead of time, you know?
Oh, man. He's like, nah, it's not real.
Not to mention, like, I mean, if you've seen anything, modern snipers typically have a spotter now. So,
yep.
I mean, but in the context of a video game thing, it was a cool idea. I didn't really like it, though. I felt like it was far too finicky.
Yeah,
like,
no, it definitely was.
It was one of them things where I'm like, do I really need to do this? Like, wouldn't it be cooler if this was cinematic? Like, what if I got to watch my guy line up, aim for the shot, you know, he's making sure he's got the wind and everything right, and then he takes the shot, you know, you could do like spin around with the bullet, you know, like, you know, it's one of them things where I'm like, you're actually not making the game more fun by making me do this. Like, you're actually making it more frustrating.
You know, I get that because they really didn't need that. That was a flashback scene.
Yeah. So
what was the guy's name? I can't remember the captain's name.
Yeah, I just told you the only two things I remember from that game. So.
It was a while back, but that one and Modern Warfare 2 was probably the better ones. Oh, and World at War was great. But other than that,
yeah, my son's all about the advanced warfare, and you know, he was all talking today. He's like, Dad, how much is the new Call of Duty? Like, he's already scheming, like, yeah. And I'm trying to like tell him like, yeah, you know, it's regular price. And I'm like, you know, Christmas is coming, just hang tight, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, but he's like, you know, he's a kid and he's in that depression where it's like Halo 5's out, he doesn't have it, and Black Ops 3's out and he doesn't have it. And,
oh man, you're killing him.
Yeah, but then meanwhile, it's like my house is nothing but a virtual game library. Like, if I had to sort everything by alphabetical order, it would take me a week. You know, like there's just games everywhere. So he can hang in there for a few weeks.
How would you feel as a kid, man?
Dude, if I had as many games available to me at his age, I would be in heaven.
Oh man,
I wouldn't even care about the new games. I'd be like, look at all this. I never had anything like that.
Yep, I get that.
So there's just bins and bins and bins full of games in this house. He's got more than enough to choose from. So yeah, I like that though. That is a good great moment in gaming. So you were wrong. I loved that scene. That was really, I mean, that was one of the moments you really felt like, you know.
Yeah,
and
I think
there was something about that game too, like at that time with like everything going on in Iraq at the time, like there was something kind of special about that. I mean, my brother was on, well, when that came out, he was, when did that come out? I don't want to misspeak about when he was actually in service in Iraq. So.
I feel like it was 2007.
Yeah, no, that would have been after he got back then.
Yeah.
He got back at the end of 06.
Yeah, November 2007 is when it came out.
Yeah, but I remember because I didn't get it till I think 08 when I got my PlayStation 3.
Okay.
So, or maybe was it 07? No, it was 08. Yeah. So I didn't talk to him about it until then, and yeah, but I always remembered that scene. You know,
that was like my go-to Call of Duty game. For a while, until I think after Modern Warfare 3, the whole online kind of died. So there's like everything about that game. I think Modern Warfare 2 was excellent. And then just kind of died. I lost interest.
I don't know. It seems like the game is I've heard people say it's plateauing. Like it's still huge, but it's not growing anymore. You know?
Like,
basically the people who like Call of Duty are there, they like it, they play it. But there's really not a lot of new blood coming in.
Like I still have Black Ops 2, and I enjoy the heck out of it. But yeah, it didn't change anything.
Well, dude, you want that limited edition PlayStation 4, right? For Black Ops 3. I mean, Nothing like a neon orange system, right? And controller.
The system was nice because it's black with the orange.
Yeah, actually, it's not that bad. That controller
is pretty hideous.
Dude, I'm just like, who the... I'm telling you, some idiot who designed that honestly thought if I make it neon orange, you won't see the cheese from the Doritos and the Cheetos on it. I cannot imagine why anyone would think that neon orange was a good idea.
The funniest thing is when you walk into a store and they have in the electronics section Black Ops 3, and then there's like a section of Mountain Dew and a section of Doritos sitting right next to it.
DewandDoritos.com, right? That's like the whole thing. It's, oh God, it's just...
It's ridiculous.
It's insanely stereotypical, man.
And it's I mean... And if you say you play games and then like you actually go and buy Doritos and maybe you want a Mountain Dew from time to time, it's like, damn it, am I really doing this?
Yeah, that makes you feel like bad about it. And it's like, I just like Mountain Dew and Doritos. Like,
I liked these before it was a Call of Duty thing, man.
Can't I like that and not be that guy? You know?
Doesn't work that way.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, that was a great moment in gaming. So there you go. Collective's Gamescast. We keep giving you stuff to think about. All right. Let's wrap this up, man. I got to get back to Mother Base. So, all right, guys. So if you want to contact the show, you can always hit us up on our website, collectivegc.com. We have the podcast there. You can also get the show on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher, and all the other podcast services. Just search for Collective Gamescast. You can always leave us the iTunes reviews. I don't really like begging for them, though. But, you know, whatever. You got time, do it. No big deal. If you want to be on the show, you can email us at collectivegamescast@gmail.com. You can send us suggestions for topics if you want to be on the show, crazy things that have happened to you in Fallout 4. I totally want to know about that. Twitter, we're over there at the Collective GC. You can stay up to date on show news and all that stuff. I'm on Twitter. I'm at the Malgadar, Malgadar. Actually, I had to actually think about that for a minute. Sometimes I stumble on my own Twitter handle. Yeah, I'm also on PSN. I'm _Malgadar. You can contact Chris. He's on Twitter at ChrisBCGC. And we'll see you next week. We're going to be talking about the fallout from Fallout 4. So everybody behave yourselves this weekend and enjoy yourselves on Tuesday. This is the Collective Gamescast episode 8, the Fallout Flashback, and we're done.
We're out.